how do you know when it's time to call it a quits, that I keep trying, I keep failing, that I move on to something new na, I'll try something fresh, that this is not something for me? How do you know that it's time to let go?
You have to have a healthy perspective on failure. Kasi failure along the road to success, to your calling or to whatever it is that you're called to do, your purpose in life. Failures will really be part of that process. Kasi it's there are hidden gems and lessons that are hidden in failure itself, that you will only find out and you will only learn after experiencing something like that. So don't be afraid of failure. When you fail, take it from me. I've shared my story many times when I do public speaking. I've had many failures in the corporate world. There's wisdom that you will gain from experiencing heartache as well, right? So of course you don't go looking for heartache, but when you experience it, there's nothing wrong with it. Use it to get better. Use it as a stepping stone. When the boardroom was already empty, I sat there with my team. We were shell shocked for a few minutes. We were quiet. We didn't know what to say. Finally, when we left the boardroom and we entered the production floor where the rest of the 700 plus people were seated, you knew they knew what happened, because all of a sudden, the moment we stepped in, there was a hush. If you quit at the worst time, it's like ending the book of your story with a bad ending. If you're not willing to get back up, what's your other choice? It's just to stay down. But how long will you be down for? Some of those painful things, the mistakes I made, and I'm like, that's never gonna happen again, or I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again.
In this video, we're with Carlo Mata. We're gonna talk about failure. If you've missed out on stocks, lost money in business, or you are not doing so well in your job, that's what we're gonna talk about. How do you bounce back from failure? How can you use actually failure to bring you higher? Because you are not a failure. Even if you make mistakes, you can still bounce back from it and do well. So check this video out.
Hi everyone, my name is Carlo. I just wanted to encourage you to subscribe to Marvin Germo's channel. Hit the subscribe button, smash that bell so that you're notified whenever a new video comes out.
Yes, guys. So enjoy the rest of the video. We have Carlo Mata joining us.
Thanks.
A lot of people are hesitant to go into business because they're scared about the judgment of what other people will think about them, or the failure na lang na ano eh. Ito, I'll give you an example. There's one person also na he was so good at photography na sobrang galing pang wedding photography. He would do sidelines about it and earn a lot, pero he could not quit his job, not because he didn't have any savings, but he was so scared anong isipin ng people around him if he jumps in, quits his job, tapos the business fails. So, how do you deal with that?
Well,
Tsaka, sige, while you're thinking, no, iba kasi yung pang nanggaling sa akin kaysa sa isang tao na sobrang galing tsaka sobrang yaman. So, mas may credibility. Guys, super, sobrang galing yan. Nagmumukha ako mahirap dito, promise. Okay, go.
nawawala ako. So yung tanong mo
Okay.
is mental health.
I don't know, yeah.
Okay, so mental health.
People's judgment, yeah.
People's judgment. Look, the truth is this, right? If Marvin was saying some people are afraid to go into business because they're afraid of what other people might think of them. The truth is this: no matter what you do now, I think especially now with social media, I think social media is can be used for good. It can be used for evil. Unfortunately, you look at your Facebook feed, you look at Twitter and all these things. There's so much judgment and harshness going on around, right? We see something happening before we even find out the background or the context of a video that was taken middle of a scenario or a situation. Everyone's very quick to judge. So that's the reality of the world we live in now. People judge, and with social media, it's a megaphone, it's a platform, and at the same time your life is a microscope. They catch you at the wrong time. Someone takes a video of you at your worst moment in life, and all of a sudden you're already viral. So I think it's it's a legitimate fear, I think, that or concern that what if you will be
You
judged
fail,
or
yeah,
if
yeah.
you will fail.
Huh.
But I'll say this: number one, you have to have a healthy perspective on failure. Kasi failure along the road to success, to your calling or to whatever it is that you're called to do, your purpose in life, failures will really be part of that process. Kasi it's there are hidden gems and lessons that are hidden in failure itself, that you will only find out and you will only learn after experiencing something like that. So don't be afraid of failure. When you fail, take it from me. I've shared my story many times when I do public speaking. I've had many failures in the corporate world, and the truth is, there are times a lot of people want you to fail, and they wait for that moment, and the moment you fail they'll pounce on you, but they don't have the final say on your life. And at the end of the day, so long as you have a strong adversity quotient where despite challenges, despite failure, you always rise up again, and you learn from the mistakes, and you use it to get better at what you do. You know, you can fail once, twice, so long as you're not constantly making the same mistake. That's the key. Don't keep making the same mistake. Learn from your mistakes. Even better, do like what Marvin does. He learns from mentors, from books, he reads, he learns from other people's mistakes so that he gets the wisdom from it. But there's wisdom that you will gain from experiencing heartache as well, right? So of course you don't go looking for heartache, but when you experience it, there's nothing wrong with it. Use it to get better. Use it as a stepping stone.
Okay. While you were saying that, no, if there's one failure that you remember that you can talk on camera, no, what's the worst failure that you've done that when you did it, it impacted the business you were working for in a big way? Tapos when it happened, parang you learned a lot from it, and then it was something that catapulted you as well.
Um, sobrang dami ng failure eh. But siguro one would be, without going into the very specific details of it, we used to have a quarterly business review with our stakeholders, with our clients, and leading up to that entire quarterly business review, with the biggest boss of the clients who was going to fly in, we thought we had a meeting of the minds with our clients. So we set out to what we wanted to measure ourselves on. We thought that we had the right measurements of success, and we prepared. We were doing very well. The day finally came where our client flew in, and when we had a it was going to be a full day of presentation, 50 plus slides. Slide 2 pa lang, executive summary pa lang, the client raised his hand and said, "What the hell are you talking about? I don't recognize any of these KPIs. You're making them up." And that's when I realized that what we agreed on with his one down was never relayed to him. And so when we entered that business review, all 55 slides that followed after were useless because he did not recognize that. And so a lesson I've learned from, a lesson I learned is this: make sure that your measurement of success is the same as that of either your boss or your client or your customers, because you can think you're successful, yung pala what you measure yourself on is totally different from what the business really needs or what the market needs or what your boss is looking for, di ba? So making sure, taking the time to align on what does success look like to you. You know, you ask your boss, what does success look like to you? What do I need to do for you to say that at the end of the year I am successful at my role? Don't guess. It's too important to guess and just to assume. You must have that conversation with the people you work with and ask, what does success look like to you for me? What do I need to be doing or saying, or what do I need to be displaying for you to say I am a performer and I am a success? So
What was your matagal na ba to? What was your position at the time? Was it high na ba?
I
Low?
was already a director at the time. I was a
Okay.
director, and yeah, so social media was already present then. So
Okay.
apparently, it was a bloodbath in that boardroom, and someone in that boardroom messaged someone outside the boardroom explaining the bloodbath that was happening inside.
Okay.
And so even while it was happening, people pala outside the boardroom already knew. And so it was the worst ever business review of my entire career. And after, when the boardroom was already empty, I sat there with my team. We were shell shocked for a few minutes. We were quiet. We didn't know what to say. Finally, when we left the boardroom and we entered the production floor where the rest of the 700 plus people were seated, you knew they knew what happened because all of a sudden, the moment we stepped in, there was a hush. And all their heads just faced their keyboard, looked down. And true enough, we found out everyone knew of they heard of the failure, what a bloodbath that business review was.
Pero did you lose the client after, or did they
Thankfully,
still
no,
stay?
actually, we didn't lose a client. But you know
Okay.
what happened? I was, in a way, I was temporarily demoted.
Ah, you were?
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah.
was my
So,
next question niya. Kung napagalitan ka, what did your boss say
oh
after
yeah,
it?
it wasn't a very happy time. I was removed from a certain assignment of a position. I was put aside to a lower position, to a lower profile line of work. And the truth was, I and my leadership team, we all went through the same thing, and many of them wanted to quit at that time because it was such a painful experience. It was a public failure. But I what we all agreed on was this: if you quit at the worst time, it's like ending the book of your story with a bad ending. And so don't ever. I felt at that time it was the worst time to quit, that I had to redeem myself. So I used that to redeem myself. I learned from that painful mistake. And, I found opportunities to shine within that decreased role. And then soon enough, you find yourself getting back into the good graces of the client, of your boss. But it's a process. I mean, even that, I say failure, don't be afraid to fail. But the truth is this: I guess the reason why people are afraid to fail is of the consequences of failure. But there's a price to pay for everything. There's a price to pay for not paying the price. So uh, it was a painful lesson. It was about 6 months of demotion for me. But the team and I came back strong. And after that, I mean, it was after that that I hit my best years in that organization as a professional.
Okay, now as a boss, you have an employee that keeps on failing. What do you do? Do you reassign that person? Syempre you can, kung sa Pilipinas you can fire them, pero pag hindi pa sila regular, will you fire them, or will you just give them another chance at hoping they will redeem themselves? So rank natin. Take that person out, assign them to a different position, or give them another chance.
Nako, it's hard to rank. It's very situational, right?
Okay.
I mean, part of it is really understanding why the person is failing. Um, are you failing, or is the person failing because of a mismatch in
Or
expectations?
skill wise, just make it simple na lang. They're not equipped for that position. They're not really as good, or they're not as competent.
Well, I think in cases like that, the hiring managers also have to take accountability, right? So if you're a hiring manager, you have to realize also that maybe what you were looking for in that candidate when you hired this candidate, you were wrong about it, right? And assuming that was the situation, find a way to is there an opportunity in the organization? Is there a role in the organization where this current candidate the candidate skill sets can amply match, di ba? So don't be too quick to fire people kasi people are not commodities. Their lives, and they have feelings, and they have families, they're breadwinners and all these things, right? So you find out first, you ask them, do they know they're failing? That's one big question. Do they know they're failing? Because I've talked to a lot of people, Marvin, na
They don't know.
They don't know.
Okay.
They really don't know. It's
Ah.
unconscious incompetence.
Okay.
You know, they think they're really good, but they're really failing at the role. So you have to align with them and make sure that they understand that they're failing at the role. Um, After that, you know, you have to find out what, assuming your expectations are aligned, what do you need to do, or what support does this person need to be a success. So don't give up on the person right away, I think. No, ask them. As a leader, your job is to support, is to help also, and you ask, is there anything I can do that you're currently struggling with? Is there any place I can help to help you succeed? That's an important question to ask. So don't just keep prescribing. You have to ask the right questions. And then also ask the person, how do you feel about the role? Do you think there's a right fit? Sometimes manggagaling na yan sa tao na I think this is the wrong role for me. But again, you help the person figure it out together. But there will be times you have to let go of people, and it would be good for them, help them be successful in other organizations.
Okay. So when you failed naman, what were do you have like do you have like steps that you do na after this failure, this is what I'll do to also bounce back from it? Or how do you cheer yourself up? Because a lot of people when they fail, they stay there na eh. They don't bounce from it. I've seen people who've done business, lost money, never tried business again. They stayed in employment or worse off, they never even tried anymore. Hanggang ganon.
Siguro sometimes it's also hard to judge, no? Kasi siguro depending on the trauma that one experiences, siguro it could be very traumatic. That's why it's harder for some to bounce back. And so I whatever advice I give, I don't want to, if you're that person going through a very traumatic experience, I don't mean to undermine your experience. But understand that ultimately people can be there to help you, to encourage you, but ultimately the decision to get back up will be yours. No one else's decision but yours. And so life is a journey, life continues. And if you're not willing to get back up, what's your other choice? It's just to stay down. But how long will you be down for? So I think there's a time to be discouraged. If you're discouraged, you also, if a person around you is discouraged, Marv, don't also rush them into bouncing back up, right? There's a period for them to sort of just absorb it, to just sulk for a moment. But after some time, you have to realize, you have to go through the process, play it in your head. What did I not do right? The other thing is this: oftentimes in failure, you it's possible that you are not the only reason why you failed. It could be that there are other people, other circumstances that contributed.
Mother-in-law, yes?
Hindi, except
Okay.
mother-in-law.
Except mother-in-law. Okay, oh, sige. Continue, continue,
Uh,
continue.
so,
Parang kinabahan ka dun, ah.
Oo nga eh. Pinagpawis na ako. So, love you, mommy. So, when that happens, it does not help that you blame other people. At the end of the day, you have to own your success and your failure as well. You cannot always point a finger at other people and say, kasi itong taong to, the environment was not right. Even if that were true, the question is, what can you do on your part? What can you control so that you learn from that mistake and you put yourself in a better position to succeed in the future? So I think learning lang, you ask, what do you do? What's the process? For me personally, it's just I play it in my head, and I look at the experience, and I look back at some of those painful things, the mistakes I made, and I'm like, that's never gonna happen again, or I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. And true enough, thankfully, a lot of the mistakes I made only happened once. Someone said, "But you don't want to pay for the same piece of real estate twice or thrice." So if you pay a
Who
costly,
said that? Carlo Mata, 2019. Hindi ko alam.
hindi ako yun, anonymous, hindi ko alam. But
Claim mo na, guys. Comment below, Carlo Mata,
Hashtag.
2019. Okay. Okay.
so, yun.
Okay. That's it? Okay, we'll end it with this one. and you can this can be applied to either stock investing or business or employment. How do you know when it's time to call it a quits? That I keep trying, I keep failing, that I move on to something new na. I'll try something fresh. That this is not something for me. How do you know that it's time to let go? Yun.
Naku,
So, yun, di ba? Parang,
how do I know it's time to let
while
go?
you're thinking, LeBron did not give up last year. Tignan mo this year. Oh, di
Tignan mo,
ba? Oh,
number one
oh,
ulit.
number one. Okay, okay.
So how do you know it's time to let go? I think that's so tricky because in everything you do, you're not always going to be riding an emotional high, right, or a moral high or a spiritual high. There, because of the process of success, there's a process where you go through valleys and you go through times of being alone and you go through a bit of dark times. Um, if you recognize that that's part of the process, then when you go through it, you don't quit, right? Some people just say do whatever makes you happy. I think that's a very that's a misleading and risky advice, doing whatever makes you happy, because happiness is very temporary, and what makes you happy today can change tomorrow, right? And so I think um, understanding that you will go through times of testing and trial is a crucial thing. Now, how do you know when it's time to leave? There's such a thing as joy, which goes deeper than that, right? And when your joy is no longer there, when there's no more joy in what you do, and there's no more sort of wala ka na sa flow, there's no more grace, parang that magic, that spark that you once had, despite multiple attempts, doesn't seem to be there anymore. Maybe it's also time to understand that you're moving on to a new season. So life is also about seasons. And I think recognizing your seasons is a bigger topic that Marvin can cover in his next vlog. But recognizing seasons is one of the most important things that you need to do in life, because seasons will determine what you do in that particular time in your life. And also, you don't want to remain in a previous season when your life season has already moved on. You don't have that bounce in your step anymore, and you're no longer making an impact in the lives of the people around you, the same kind of impact. That might be a sign for you to ask yourself and assess your season in life.
Alright, so that's it, no? So if you failed, para sa akin, I'll just end it with this, that please remember, it doesn't make you a failure.
Absolutely.
Failing does not make you a failure. You keep on trying. Ako, my motto is ano eh, I'm not scared of failing.
Yeah.
Kasi, yun eh. That's why I started with that question also, was primarily because more it's not about also failing eh. More people don't even try than actually failing itself eh. And I think there's a lot of business people, a lot of investors that missed out on a lot of opportunities because they did not do it. They took the fear. The fear of failing was bigger than the actual failure itself.
Mm.
So there, try
And surround yourself
Okay.
with people who believe in you,
Okay.
who really believe in you, and who see your gift and your talent. Believe me, there are those people in your life.
Okay.
It's impossible you won't have that. So surround yourself with people who see the gift and the talent you have, and help recognize the seasons in your life. They will talk to you. They'll give you advice. And they'll believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Like for me, Marvin is one of them.
Hindi, grabe
Walang
naman.
biro yan, Marvin. Walang
Talaga?
biro yan. Oo.
Okay, grabe. So, this is a paid endorsement by the way. Joke, it's not a paid endorsement. But, yun, I hope this video helped you. And it's something that will, this is not our normal stock market videos, no? But it's nice to hear things, the intangibles. If you want to be a business person, an entrepreneur, or even an employee or an investor, these are the things that we need also to slug it through. Kasi not all the time your stocks or your business will be in a high. Eh.
Yeah.
So, you have to have this also to make you successful. Like him, super successful, guys. That's why wala ka ng choice. Next video, we're gonna talk about seasons. Okay naman yun. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.